Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this one's going to be a fun one. This is the Piaggio Typhoon. It's a 50cc scooter, and in this video we're going to review this bike as a static thing just to show you all the details, and then we're going to take it out and do an acceleration test run so you can see what it's like to drive. And that's something that I don't always do here, but they've given me permission to do it with this one because I think it really matters to the 50cc buying public. But what's cool is I underestimated this. I've done a couple videos of this before. This is the entry-level Piaggio, and frankly, I just assumed that the Liberty is a nicer model. I still think it might be a nicer model, and I also think that the Vespa Primavera and Sprint are nicer models, but those are both a little bit and quite a bit more expensive than this, and this one sells out every time it's here. We have 3 of them in the last shipment. The first 2 were gone. This one's not gone yet, but I can put a half a kilometer on it or a little bit of kilometers on it here to show you what it's like, and it will be gone right away as well. But it's interesting, so while it's here, we're going to spend some time and get to know it, and I think you're going to appreciate it because I've learned to realize what's to be appreciated about this bike by watching the people who are buying it. So I think I'm going to be able to have a few more insights than I have in the past. So let's get going with the full review. Before we go too far, I'm filming here at Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals, Jim Gilbert's Power Sports. They give me complete access to their entire product line. So if you have questions about this vehicle or other vehicles just like it, let me know in the comments and make sure you hit subscribe because I can come back to your questions not only in the comment section, but also in future videos to make sure that we give you sort of a video database of all the information that you could want about this model and other models just like it. So let's get going with this review. So let's start with why I didn't think this was as nice as the Liberty, and there's a couple little things. First of all, it is electric start, but it has a kickstart, and that kickstart shows me that it's maybe a little bit more dated. The other thing that's pretty dated is the dash. We're going to show it to you in a second here, but it looks like the same types of dashes I saw in the 1980s when I was growing up, and it's something that I wish Piaggio would update. But other than those 2 pieces, which just, I guess, signaled to me that this wasn't as nice, the rest of the scooter actually has a lot of features that maybe are nicer than some of the other ones in the lineup, so I'm going to show you them as we come in closer right now. So as we look at the details of this scooter, I often start with a front wheel of a motorcycle or a scooter because the front wheel tells you a lot about what you've got going on here. So first of all, the front wheel on this scooter is unique. On something like the Piaggio Liberty, you have a larger diameter wheel than this and a narrower tire. Now, usually what we do is we talk about the Piaggio Liberty with the tall but narrow tire, and we talk about the Vespa as the smaller but wide tire. Well, this one is an in-between diameter, so that means that from here to there is the in-between size between the Piaggio Liberty's front wheel and the Vespa Primavera's front wheel, but it is the widest tire, and I think that width in the tire appeals to a lot of people. I've been talking to people who are buying these things, and they like the look of these as well as just sort of the toughness side of it. So again, it has a fairly deep tread. It's not at all an off-road tread, but you'd be surprised what scooters can do off the beaten track, off the beaten road kind of thing, off to dirt roads and other things. They do quite well. There's a little bit of shipping plastic on that reflector there, so I'm going to rip that off in case you didn't think that was quality there. It all looks like quality stuff here. And there's a little bit of style in here. Nothing fancy here with the disc brakes. It's pretty common on a lot of scooters. But a little bit of style in there just gives it a little bit of pizzazz. Moving our way up from the front wheel, you can see we've got a little different headlight design here than you have on the Liberty or the Vespa. So you've got the headlight built into the bodywork here instead of up on the handlebar. Now that means it doesn't turn with your steering, which some people like, some people don't. It's a traditional light. Something like the Vespa has an LED light. This is a regular halogen light, which I don't think is a huge concern for overall visibility or visibility at night because you're not out driving your headlights, right? And you're not driving so fast that you go past your stopping ability of your headlights. So you've got good headlights there, simple to replace. It's a dual bulb headlight system, and that allows you to customize up here what you want. Throw some stickers on, make it your own, or just leave it like it is right there. Overall, you can sort of see it along the side of this. There's almost like an aircraft kind of feel to it. It's got these vented areas in here. It's got the little wings out here for the rear seat passengers. It's just kind of a cool style that's different than what Vespa does with the Vespa and what Piaggio does with something like the Liberty. So we're really dividing the bike up into segments here. One of the things I want to point out is a flat floor here. You don't always see that on something like the Vespa, and it gives you a lot of space. It also has a hook here. We're going to talk about that in a second here. We talked about those wings for the passenger area. And as you look down here, bodywork is kind of minimal. You've got some good clearance there to show off the same size 14-inch rear wheel diameter. So same diameter wheel on the rear as on the front, which is nice to have. The Liberty has a bigger front wheel than a rear wheel, so something different there. You have these wing-like things here, which are able to have your passenger hang on to, as well as just pretty cool for style. And the seat has a little bit different texture. So let's take a look at the seat now as we come in a little closer. So as we take a look at the seat, you can see pretty simple stuff here. You've got a sort of plasticky, vinyl-y kind of feeling seat here. Nothing too fancy, but it does have a texture which grips you. So again, it doesn't feel like the leathers on the Vespas, but again, it's practical, it's simple, and you can see you've got plenty of space for 2 people here, and if you want to take a second person, you can. Now, of course, there's storage underneath here, so we're going to show you that. No release, no electrical release, just a simple key open there, and it opens up here. Now, in here, you can fit usually about a half-face helmet. It looks to me like you might fit the odd full-face helmet. We'll come a little closer here with the camera, see if we can get you in here on one shot. Let me just zoom right down here. So possibly a full-face helmet. I don't think you'd fit every full-face helmet in there, but you can see the design is pretty spacious there. When you move up to something like the Liberty, you have a little nub right over here and over there, which allows you to hang your D-ring of your helmet on the outside. So again, being the entry-level model, you have a couple less features than something like that Liberty, but for most people, you can put your stuff in here, you can carry your helmet around like a regular motorcyclist. It is carved out nicely in the seat as well, so there is some space in there, and of course you can use that as space when you're traveling, but also to put a helmet in when you're done traveling. So pretty cool stuff. I should just scroll back a tiny bit here if I can do that smoothly. No, I can't do it smoothly, but there we go. There is your fuel fill right there as well, so that's locked under the seat, which makes it just a little better for protection. So if we're going to talk about storage, we have to show you the extra little storage. You throw the key in here, you push the key in, and this area pops down. Now, it's a little hard to see on the angle, but you have a little bit of space in there to hold something like a phone, your wallet, just the basics. It's not a huge area. It's not trying to be something it's not, but you have a little space there to hold your insurance papers, that kind of stuff, all in there, easily accessible, and of course, key lockable in there. Now, there is another piece down lower here. I'm not sure if it's in your shot. Yeah, there we go. It's in your shot. This type of clip is better than what they use in the Vespa Primavera, in my opinion. It's mounted to the front of the scooter, and you can see the front kind of lips away there, so you can stick there a grocery bag or a backpack or something like that. You can hang it on here, and it hangs between your legs, and because of that flat floor, you can actually fit quite a bit of stuff between your legs there where it's nice and secure. And like I said, because it has that closing top there, if you hit some bumps and that kind of thing, it's not going to come off, which I really like. All right, looking at the dash, I kind of have to freehand the camera here, and that's because this dash is inset a little deeper than on some of the other models, so there's no way to actually film it from the side. Of course, you can see it very clearly from the driver's environment. You do have a fuel gauge over here, very easy to read, very large, and a speedometer over there. We're going to take it out and show you that speedometer at work in just a second here, but again, it's very rare to see the dial-style odometer. You just don't see that anymore on a modern vehicle, so there is a little bit of a datedness to this that, again, allowed me to sort of write this bike off, but I totally get why people like it because other than the dated dash here, it's actually got some pretty great features. So speaking of great features, you have really good switch gear here. A lot of older bikes didn't have such an easy to use headlight switch, so that's on and off, but you have that little flash to pass, the flash to get attention. On a scooter that's, you know, a darker scooter, maybe along the side of the road sometimes when you're letting traffic pass if you're on a little bit too busy road, being able to just tap and flash that high beam is a good way to get people's attention, just to let them know that you're there so they don't cut out in front of you. You also have a nice, clear, easy to use signal that has nice clickiness to it so it feels secure, and of course your horn is easy to access down here. We'll just show you the other side as well while we're at it. The throttle side, also very simple, easy on, easy off throttle. It's a fairly light throttle, so it's easy to spin on and off compared to some other motorcycles. That's a kill switch right there. Every motorcycle is going to be required by law to have a kill switch, so you can use the key to turn off the vehicle, but this will turn off just the engine. So make sure you use the key to turn all the battery and everything else off, but if you ever had an emergency, the idea is that you could pull this right there or push it like that. It would make sure the motorcycle turns itself off while you're keeping your hands on the handlebars. And then there's the remote or the push button start right there. So it is electric start on this as well. There is a kickstart like we mentioned. Let's just take a look down this one side where the kickstart is. We'll show you a couple other little things. So taking a look down here, you can see really the exact same drivetrain as you see in the Vespa and Piaggio scooters that cost more than this one. A couple little differences here. On Vespa and Piaggio, this is not a kickstart. This is just a little rubber plug. This all looks the same. The airbox is a little different here. And interestingly, even on the Vespas, it says Piaggio in here on the Vespa and Piaggio Liberty and the Vespa Primavera, whereas here it's just blank, no label. So can you see the suspension in there? Yeah, you can see the suspension in here as well. So you've got a preloaded adjustable there, so if you're a really heavier rider, you can sort of adjust that preload as a one-time thing or as a fairly simple adjustment and kind of leave that where it is. So you've got the ability to take some weight on here. And speaking of taking weight, you've got these nice foot pads here for your passenger. I'm going to jump on this thing and show you what it looks like to sit on as a rider and as a passenger, so let's do that right now. All right, a couple things to remember for this shot. First of all, it is on the center stand. The center stand brings it to the bottom of the suspension and actually takes the wheel off the ground, which actually makes it taller. So I'm about 6 feet tall. If you're really short, you can stand across a scooter like this. It doesn't matter how tall you are, you should be able to fit like this. Now, of course, it looks tall because it's sitting higher, but what I have it on the center stand for is so I can show you this. I have fairly big size 11 shoes and they easily fit in here. There are scooters with a little bit more space if you needed it, but I don't think you need it. You can always kind of angle your toes and that kind of thing. But again, my feet fit comfortably here, and it's a fairly compact but comfortable riding position, very upright. And you can see there's a large seat behind me. So let's do that. Let's sit on that as well. If I sit on the large seat behind me, I've got these handles here which fall right below where my center of gravity is, so that's a good place to hang on. Obviously, you can hold on to the rider as well. But this isn't something you're going to take a passenger with very often, but it's legal to, and you're able to because you've got the footrests and you've got the hand grips right here. A couple other things I like, the mirrors here are a little bit more fancy design. Sometimes they're just round. They are also wide angle, so it says objects in mirror are closer than they appear on both sides. So unlike the passenger side of your car is the only one that has it on your car, you've got that on both sides, and they're pretty well positioned. So now, let's talk about briefly who this is for, and then we're gonna go outside and do that acceleration run. So who is this for? Well, what I'm finding is in New Brunswick, you can drive these things at 14 years old by doing a written test, and this is hugely popular with that younger crowd. Those little bit bigger tires is something that they like. The ability to kind of go a little bit more on the rougher roads potentially is something they like as well, and it's simple. There's just not a whole lot to break on these. They're pretty reliable, they go all day, and they're fun. So if you're looking for something that is a vehicle for a young person, they tend to like this style. If you're looking for something that is a nice addition as a secondary vehicle to drive around town, scooters are great for that, and you should come in and compare this to the Liberty, which is a few $100s more, and to the Vespa, which is a little bit more again, but there are reasons to move up to those. Personally, I love the Primavera. I love the classic style, but I totally understand now why this is so popular as well. So that's sort of the wrap up. Let's check out that acceleration run now. All right, so I'm out here and acceleration preview. What you can see is hopefully a little bit of the dash in here. We're not gonna have enough space to go up to like a top speed run or anything like that, but you should get a sense of how this is in town, and I can be fully honest with you, it's gonna feel slower in the video than in real life, but this is kind of your preview. So I have a camera mounted to my chest, not to my head, so you kind of see a little bit of everything there, and we're gonna give it a go here. So as you can tell, it's fairly quiet. I've got a mic on me, but it's kind of an open mic, so fairly quiet. As we rev the engine, we're just gonna go up full speed. So there we go, easy takeoff. All right. 15, 20, oh, we're going uphill here, but no problem. It doesn't even slow down at all. 30, 35, 40, perfect through town. Coming across here, and we're at 40. Let's just hit the brakes. Brakes worked really well. Gonna come around here, say hi to our detail crew as we come through. So the key is this is really light and maneuverable. It's very fun to drive. And again, it's not world-beating performance, but it's a whole lot of fun to just kind of zip down, zip out full speed here. No problem. And again, we're approaching. It's going to look slower on camera than it is in person. It works really, really well. So again, not super bike performance, but a whole lot of power to have fun, way faster than an e-bike. The e-bike might have the initial 0 to 10 kilometers an hour, 0 to 5 kilometers an hour off the line, but this continues to pull from there. So we're going to go right back up to the building. We'll cut it out short, and there's your little quick mini test ride. Don't want to put too much mileage on this brand new bike, so we can have somebody have it as a brand new bike. And yeah, we'll bring it back to the building and we'll cut out the video from there. Thanks for watching.